Hi, I'm Jelila, Planetary Healer, and I want to talk to you about the pace of change on the planet. So the speed at which things happen here, and how we tend to feel that progress is like what we're here for. And this is something that I believe has been going on for a long time, and that it's not necessarily good for us. And I just want to talk about that. You might go, oh yes, of course it is. Okay, so just bear with me and just be prepared to just hear another way of thinking about that. So I'm an international healer. I have been doing deep healing work here in Bali for a long time, more than 22 years now. And I created my own healing modality, which is called the reprogramming, which is a very powerful, quick way to change things. And using that, I've been able to change the 7 most common problems that I've discovered that humans have, which are lack of self-love, low self-esteem, depression, feeling unhappy, feeling creatively blocked, and some other things. And I've written 5 books about it, including the reprogramming. But this video is not about that. It's about the pace of change on the planet. And there's some work that I've done which is maybe a bit wacky but interesting, and it's called Alien Wedding, and I've written a book of that title which you can go and look up on Amazon and Kindle if you like. It's called Alien Wedding by Jelila, and it's about the origin of humanity. So when I started working with people and their problems, and I started to notice, well, why do people keep coming with the same thing? Why are people like, they say they have to work all the time and they're on a treadmill, and why do people say why do they feel shame? What's that about? Shame about what? And why do people say that they feel creatively blocked and they can't express themselves? And I was like, why? That's weird. Why has everyone got the same thing? What's going on? So it happened that one day, when doing a belief change with somebody, some unusual word came up, and I went and looked it up on the internet, and it led me to ancient alien theory and stuff, and I thought, oh, that's weird, that's interesting. And so I started reading around on the internet, and I read all this different stuff, and then I felt tired because I'd absorbed all that and I needed to integrate it, so I just fell asleep. And then when I woke up, I started to hear all the negative belief patterns that humans have taken on because of things that happened in our ancient and original history when we were first created. So what I discovered in reading that stuff, and what I've come to think is probably the case, is that humans maybe didn't arise naturally. We didn't evolve, because there's actually a huge gap in the fossil record. Apparently they would have to find 118 missing links in order to justify how humans just went boing and made a huge leap forward, an enormous change, and that nobody's ever been able to properly explain. So the only people that have any sort of hypothesis that seems to make any sense are the ancient alien people. And so what they're saying is that we didn't arise naturally. We were made from the people that were originally here, the Neanderthals, and some much more advanced people who came here from another planet, who are called the Anunnaki, who are the people that established Sumeria and actually really colonized this planet. Not for our benefit, but for theirs, because they needed to get gold to fix up the atmosphere on their planet. So this is very interesting when you relate it to the problems that humans have. So what I'm going to explain to you now is why humans have those problems and where they come from, which is great. And then we can start to change that. And this, of course, also links to the subject of this video, which is about the need to keep progressing. Okay, so they came here. They needed to get gold desperately to fix up their atmosphere. They couldn't breathe without it, right? So they created us. They upgraded the Neanderthals because their own people got fed up with working in their mines. They'd already worked in the mines for a very long time, but one day they revolted and they said, we're not doing this anymore. And so the king sort of looked around, the leader, and he just sort of thought, what can we do? And he looked at the Neanderthals and he thought, maybe we can use them. And his friend said, oh, come on, don't be ridiculous. You know, they're just like monkeys. They can't even speak. They don't even have a voice box. And he said, maybe we can fix that. So what he did was they used their own DNA to upgrade the Neanderthals to make us, right? So Hugh is what's called the gods. They're not really gods. They're these people from another planet that were just very advanced. They looked like gods, but they weren't. They were just people, Hugh. And then the Neanderthal is man. So we are the Hugh man with a combination of the two. Now, if you've listened carefully, you'll have spotted what is very difficult for humans in this equation is that person, that king who gave his own DNA, is effectively our father. And the Neanderthals are our ancestors, right? So within us, we have embodied the masculine, this very harsh masculine as well, very using and harsh, negative kind of vibe, which is basically saying, shut up and get my gold. Okay, so gold went on to become money and is now our monetary system. And now, aren't we all still running after that, going, oh, I've got to earn more money, you know. Is that our problem, or did we just take that on from them? Okay. And then we've got this other part of us, which is what I call the feminine, which I think probably came from the Neanderthals, which is more like, oh, if I'm nice to you and I love you, won't you love me? So then inside, we've got the abuser and the abused all mixed up in one being. So no wonder we have such inner conflicts, and it's so very difficult for us to create truly positive relationships and to get on and even to get our heads straight. Okay, so those 7 common problems of humans have their roots in all of that. All of them do, actually. So as humans, we actually have serious baggage to deal with, which we can, but we have to embrace and accept quite a lot in order to become comfortable with ourselves and to do that. So back to the thing about progress. The Anunnaki couldn't use the Neanderthals as they were. They had to upgrade them. And the biggest upgrade was to the voice box, so that the new being could modulate sound and be able to speak. Because obviously people that can communicate can make much better slaves than people that are grunting at each other. Okay. So then we had to progress. The human race had to progress. The Neanderthals had to progress to survive. The not good enough thing is also coming from that. So the Anunnaki was saying to the Neanderthals, you're not good enough. You're not good enough as you are. And unless you get on with it and upgrade and become different and better and be able to communicate, then we're going to kill you. You know, so it's quite motivating. It's like, okay, I'll do it. So in actual fact, the Neanderthals were wiped out, and we are, you know, the vestiges of that. And so that's why we have such a drive for progress. Progress, we must progress. But in actual fact, we don't have to do that at all. We really don't. There's no reason for that. Tell me what the reason is that we must progress, you know. We must develop quickly. We must have more whatever. We could just sort of go along as we are, you know, couldn't we? We could still be living like, you know, in little tribes around fires and hunting and making pots and living in straw huts, couldn't we? We could. There are some people on the earth that do that. They're normally described as primitive. Okay, so I just want you to open to the idea that we don't have to always progress. So it's also, if you think in a wider scale, if you think of all your lifetimes, now you might not believe in reincarnation, okay? I don't believe in it either. It just happens that I've done thousands of regressions and I've experienced it, and when you do a past life journey with me. I am not telling you about it or trying to make you believe it. I am letting you go there on your own, which everybody can, actually. So, in a broader range of lifetimes, which think of them as being like episodes in a soap opera, we tend to think every lifetime has to be better. And you might think, if you sort of look back, if you look back at all the episodes of a soap opera, you know, is the first episode worse than a later one? Or is it just a different part of the story, you know? So we quite often tend to think our next lifetime needs to be better than this one, needs to be better, needs to be better. But imagine if you had a phenomenal lifetime. Imagine if you were, you know, the King of France or something. Or imagine if you were Mick Jagger, you know. Or imagine if you were Marie Antoinette or Joan of Arc, or anybody, you know, who's done something memorable in a lifetime. You know, what do you do in your next lifetime? You're going to come back as King 2, or Joan of Arc, you know, what are you going to do? Well, Mick Jagger will just carry on being Mick Jagger, that's okay, you know. So we don't have to progress. You know, if I'm the King of France, I might like in my next lifetime to come here and just be a fisherman on a little island and just do something really simple, you know, in Greece or something. You know, so this idea that constant progression is a given, you know, as we fill the oceans up with plastic, as we make more and more, you know, it's something to think about. I mean, I imagine that I imagine a beach where the sand is not actually sand anymore, it's just multicoloured Lego bricks, you know. One day, when there's no people here anymore, you know, it's just the ocean and the Lego. Because if you go and look up Lego and their incredible factory, which is all run mostly without humans, churning out billions of plastic bricks per day, you know, I just can imagine that would just keep going, you know, it would just keep splurging until there's like, you know, beaches and beaches of Lego. It's amazing. I love Lego, by the way. I think Lego's amazing. It's just that I'm just talking about progress. So bring your hands together. We never actually set anything up in the hands, but that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just processing something, you know, on its own. The subconscious mind is genius, absolute genius, complex and sophisticated. So let some energy move in the lower tummy, let it bubble up, let some energy move in the heart. Your energy is supposed to be flowing. There's a new belief, which is, I'm safe if I don't improve. And sometimes, you know, if we don't improve things, if we just let them be, sometimes that might be okay, you know, it might even be better. And I'm always the best, just the way I am. Okay, so that's the belief for, maybe for the Neanderthal part of us. You know, the part that always maybe felt it wasn't good enough and it had to get better in order to win the love of this crazed Anunnaki person who is completely heartless anyway. So, you know, that Neanderthal part, it's already good enough. It doesn't have to be better in order to win love. Not only to win love, but to survive. You know, it's such a driver. Anything that's connected to safety, which usually means survival, is a really strong in fact an imperative subconscious driver. We have to do those things. So you might not know those things because they're not in your thinking mind. You can't know it in your thinking mind because your thinking mind has blocked it somehow, for some reason. It's what your subconscious mind believes. So when we're doing this process with the hands, which normally we set things up in the hands and then release them, but sometimes we don't have to. So now I'm just going to sing a little bit of light language to you. It's a way of communicating to you emotionally but without words. So just see how that is. Just enjoy. Sumya hey ya hey kya mya kya cha hey ya sya hey sya kya cha mya hey yum ya hey sum kya cha sum ya hey kim cha kya ya me ya hey yum ya hey sya sa hey ya. Bring your hands all the way together so your palms touch, no gaps. Well done. Thank you for following, joining and supporting Planetary Healing. You don't need to repeat this process. You can watch it again if you want, of course, but you don't need to repeat it. Please tell your friends about it. And if you have any questions or if you want to suggest anything, then please contact me via my website, www.jelila.com, Jelila.com. And if you like this, you'll find lots of other treasures on my website, so go and avail yourself of them. My healing music too is at jelila.bandcamp.com, so you can go and listen to light language song and other songs with words, lots of positive music, very calming, that I've written over my 22-year healing journey. Well done, thank you. Now if you'd like to put your hands on your heart, thank you. And my humanity is trusted and safe. So that's another positive belief from doing this process. Well done. Okay, thank you for listening. I'm Jelila. Please come and visit me at jelila.com if you'd like to. And see you soon.